I got this homework. The first one says we've got, well, you've got the even one first. I do the odd one, so let's start there. Solve the inequality graph, the solution. I see the C is being divided by 9, which means I'm going to have to multiply by 9 to get rid of it. This will give me C by itself. Whatever I multiply to one side, I do the other. And now I have a negative divide times a positive. That's a negative, and 4 times 9 is 36. So I should have a graph with 36 in the center. This is a line here, so it'll be a dot. C is in front, so we're going to follow the dot in this direction. The line's going to be in this direction. All right, here's number 14. Number 15 is mine. I see the x is being divided by 2. The opposite is multiplying by 2. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other. I have a positive times a negative. That's a negative. And 2 times 16 is 32. So x, or negative 32, is going to be greater than x. I'm going to move these to the other side so I know what arrow direction to follow my arrow. That means I have to turn my arrow in the other direction. So it'll still be true. And now I have negative 32. I will have a open circle, because there's no line there, and I'll follow my arrow in this direction. Number 17 says I'm multiplying 3.5 to x. Remember, I'm trying to get, or to k, trying to get k by itself. So the opposite of multiplying is going to be dividing by 3.5. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other. And now 7 divided by 3.5 is 2. I didn't divide by a negative number, so I'm going to keep my arrow in that direction. When I make my graph, I'll have 2 in the center. So we have open circle since there's no dot here. And I'll follow, well, once again, I'm going to put k in front, which means I'll turn my symbol the other direction to still make it true. And now I can follow my arrow going in this direction. Number 19 says I'm multiplying by 4.2. The opposite of multiplying by 4.2 is dividing by 4.2. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other. I didn't divide by negative numbers, so my arrow will stay the same. Negative divided by a positive is a negative, and 12.6 divided by 4.2 will give me negative 3. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and do my graph, which puts me at negative 3 in the middle. Close circle, because I do have a line there. And since y is in front, I can follow my arrow in this direction. 20 is yours to do. Up to number 23. So solve the inequality graph. The solution is I'm dividing or multiplying by a negative number, so I'll divide by a negative number. But when I divide by a negative number, I have to remember to turn my symbol in the other direction. Positive divided by a negative is a negative, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. So n has to be greater than negative 3. I'll put negative 3 here, and then I'll put a closed circle since there's a line under here, and I'll follow my arrow since n is in front. Number 25, I have negative 1 over 3 times h. The opposite of multiplying by negative 1 over 3 is multiplying by negative 3 over 1. That's the inverse, right? This is going to give me h by itself. It's also going to turn my symbol in the other direction because I multiplied by a negative number. Now I'm going to have 8 being multiplied to negative 3. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. So h is going to be less than or equal to negative 24. When I put my line out, I see that I'm going to put negative 24 here. Since this is a line right there, I'm going to close my dot. And then since the arrow is pointing in this direction, I'm going to make this dot point in this direction. All right, number 26 is yours, and number 27 is mine. I see I'm multiplying by negative 3, so I'm going to divide by negative 3. Whatever I do to one side, I do the other. Dividing by negative numbers, so I turn my symbol around. This gives me y over here by itself. And when I take 14 divided by negative 3, I'm going to get a positive number because the negative divided by negative is a positive. 3 goes into 14 3 times with 2 left over. So this is going to be 3 and 2 over 3. Or if you want to write 3.6 repeating, that's fine. And when I make my arrow, or my graph, I should say, I got 3 2/3, and it's going to be an open circle since there's no line there, and the arrow is pointing in this direction. All right, number 29 says that I'm dividing by 6, which means I'm going to multiply by 6 to get m by itself. I'm not dividing or multiplying by negative numbers, so my arrow stays in this direction. Whatever I multiply to one side, I do the other. And 6 times negative 4.5. Well, positive times a negative is a negative, and 4.5 times 6. 5 times 6 is 30. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 3 is 27. So one decimal place, so one place decimal place there. That's going to give me negative 27. When I graph my solution, I should have a negative 27 here. I need to turn this in the other direction. So let me take this and move it down here. I want m to be in front. I turn my symbol in the other direction then. Now I can make my graph. Negative 27 would be here. This would be an open circle. And my arrow is pointing in this direction because that's what direction this arrow is. Over here I see I'm dividing by negative 2.5, so I'm going to multiply by negative 2.5, which means I'm going to multiply by negative 2.5 over here. All right. Let's see if I'm multiplying. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. And I've got 2 times 5, that's 10, 11, 12, right? All right, well, down here we got 2 times 4. That's 8. And we have 2 times 2, that's 4. All right, when I add these together, I get a 0. 8 plus 2 is 10, carry the 1. It's going to give me a 6 there. And remember, I've got 1, 2 decimal places. So that's going to be just 6, not 600. So now I have 600, and because I multiply by a negative number, I got to turn my symbol in the other direction. All right, so now that I've got that, I'm going to put the, let's see, this would be 6, right? We said that that arrow is pointing the other direction, so that's going to be an open circle, just there's no line underneath it. And I want to rewrite this to show the B's in front, so I'm going to have to turn it this way and still make it greater than 6. So that means all the answers that are greater than 6. All right, the last one is number 33. Your friend solves inequality. Is your friend correct? No, my friend is wrong, because over here you can see that he subtracted 3m when he should have divided it away. I'm going to work the problem correct over here. Negative 3m says is greater than or equal to 9. So I'm going to have to divide by negative 3. Whatever I divide from one side, I divide from the other. I divided by a negative number, so I have to turn my symbol around. M is by itself now, and 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. It doesn't say to graph it, so I don't need to. But it did ask for a reasoning. The reasoning is the inverse operation of multiplication is division. And that's what we did here. All right, that's all the ones I had to do. I'll see you in class for grading. Have a